and I'm shaking. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be no, I still got.
It's another Tuesday evening, and we are live on Joy 99.7 FM. It's Geek with your girl, Adobia Pep Biritwum. Welcome to another evening of us informing you when it comes to tech-related content. Last week, if you joined us, we did something a bit different from what we had done in the month of September. We looked at the new products from Apple, which was the iPhone 15, the Pro, the Pro Max. Now, the weeks prior to that, we looked at how best we can secure our mobile money and also online shopping. Today, we are looking at how best we can manage banking fraud in digital payments. Yes, there is a need for us to see how best we can manage certain things that happen, because most of us now, if not all, have banking apps that we use, and there are times that issues come on that, and we want to see how best we can manage some of the frauds concerning the use of these digital payment platforms. My guests are ready, and so am I. Will soon be getting into the conversation, but before we do that, we want you to interact with us, and so when it's time, just send us your message if you have any question to our WhatsApp number 055 1111997 055 1111997. When it's time for the phone in session 2, you can reach us on our number. We'll just be sharing that with you. We are also live streaming on Facebook and on YouTube at Joy 997. You can just check us out. That's if you're not driving anyway, but if you are, please just go ahead and be listening to us from Joy 99.7 FM. Now, before we get into our conversation today, I'll go ahead and introduce my guests. I have one returning guest. I'm calling him a returning guest because he's not been on the show once. This will be like his third time, probably. He is a cybersecurity professional in the person of Gideon Kofi Amegavi. Gideon, you're welcome.
Thank you, Peps.
All right. I have also another returning guest, and he is the lead financial crimes and anti-money laundering at eCrime Bureau. He is in the person of Eric Kweku-Mensah. Eric, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Perpetual.
All right. Before we get into our conversation today, talking about managing banking fraud in digital payments, we want to know what is happening in the tech space. So at this point, I'm going to just invite Prince, just let us know what are we experiencing in the tech space.
Hi, so today in tech, Microsoft wants AI to help you do everything in its new Windows 11. So Microsoft has just unveiled the latest version of Windows 11, and it comes with AI and everything new in so many tools that they have. AI is going to help you to write your word, read emails, summarize your meetings, and all of that. The next in the news is that Google Map directed a man to drive off a bridge, and the family of this man have sued Google. So Paxton family have sued Google because they claim their family member used the map and it wrongly took him off a broken bridge, and they are wondering why Google didn't update their app. Okay, next in the tech news, leaked documents suggest that a new Xbox Series X model will be released next year. So game lovers expect that on the way. Now, the next, Google Pixel 8 and Pixel Watch 2 will be announced on October 4th. So those who use iPhone, Samsung, there are people who also use Google Pixel. We have one listener who love Google Pixel, and so this for you, wait for this on October 4th. Yes, so Perpetual, that's all in the news.
Thank you so much, Prince, for that. As for the Google and Google Maps, I don't know, but it has done something to me before. But I believe that is for another day. At least some over there, they're doing the sewing. I'm sure something good will come out of it. But if you're just joining us, this is the Geek Squad with your girl Adobia Pep Biritwum. Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. MTN everywhere you go. Today we are looking at managing banking fraud in digital payments. Managing banking fraud in digital payments. I know that, for some time now, and it's even one of the discussions we had the very first time when we spoke about securing mobile money. We spoke about the fact that e-money, e-cash has come to stay.
Yeah.
But just let us look at Ghana. Most countries now are doing a lot of electronic transactions. But when it comes to Ghana, it's like we still like to use cash. Like, why? Why are we not even there yet? Like, what exactly is the issue? I can start with you, Eric.
Okay, thank you very much, Perpetual. In fact, it's a gradual process. Seriously speaking, Ghana has come a very long way. When you look at the internet penetration rate, when you just suppose 2000, which we had less than 1%, to just 2023, which is over 71%. We've come a very long way. But when it comes to, using financial services products that are electronic based, we are a bit lagging, right? And one, because of the digital infrastructure, right? And also some of the challenges that come up when it comes to financial inclusion. We also have some problems when it comes to verification of identities, because all these are some of the bedrocks that enhance digital payments, right? So let me just mention this. In 2021, World Bank had a financial inclusion survey, and it specifically looked at the percentage of a population of a country that is above 15 years that had or that were using debit cards, right? Ghana on that survey ranked 94th.
Okay.
Wow. In fact, we were just close to the because the countries, there were about 121 countries that were that were surveyed, right?
Okay.
And we ranked 94th. In fact, the first top three are Netherlands, Sweden, and Denmark, right? So that is how the whole thing is. But of course, there are some challenges that I know we are putting in some measures. You hear about the the desire to have a cashless economy, the digital transformation agenda, and all that is going on. All this are just to help us reach that level that other advanced countries are. Right. So basically, that is where we are. There's more room for improvement.
Okay, so you mentioned that identification of people also makes it difficult for us to even go ahead and get to that stage where some of these countries are. Gideon, is there anything you like to add to it? Why Ghana is not there yet in the first place?
Well, like Eric said, I think we've come far. We've come far as a nation. I believe it's a gradual process, and I think the main issue had to do with the infrastructure in terms of technology. I think it took us very long to get the fundamentals right. We are still struggling with the basics to some extent, but I think we are getting there. And the other part has to do with the citizens' awareness level. We were very used to the same old way of handling cash and all the barter trade system for years. So it's a gradual process. And now you can see most of the youth coming up are embracing this technology. And with the introduction of the various social media platforms and all these things are giving us, or it's giving some enlightenment to this space. So you get there. It's just a gradual process.
By all means, we'll get there. Sure. So today we are zooming in onto mobile banking, as in the mobile apps for various banks, and how best we can manage some of the frauds associated with them. I don't know, but for some specific banks, once you just log into your application, there's usually a message that comes: don't share your OTP, which is your one-time password, with anyone when they call you or anything. Why is that even people have even got to that place where they are using mobile apps, they're expecting that everything should work fine? And I'm sure somebody would even say, because of some of these frauds, they will not even download the app in the first place, because anything can even happen. But we are at a place where we want to be doing cashless. So if we can just touch on it, what are some of the things that are even cases of fraud, or why people may even be skeptical about using the apps in the first place? Eric.
Okay, sure. So, when it comes to technology, there's a lot of protocols that must be put in place. There is a concept which is the technology, the processes, and the people. Now, when you roll out an app, there are some safeguards that you ought, as an institution, to put in place when it comes to the security of that application, so that it is not easily hacked. Right. Then also some of the processes. You realize that some mobile apps, once you sign in to make a transaction, you don't really need to have an OTP. Meanwhile, that is a best practice, right? So if an app is rolled out without such a best practice, I tell you, once there's money involved, criminals will go and target it. Right. Now, another thing is the customer education. That is lagging. Now, analysis from our end, that's E-Crime Bureau, reveals that customer education is actually really down. Because oftentimes, bulk of the budget of the institutions go into, advertising the app and all that. But as to teaching their customers how to protect themselves on the app, is lacking. So it's very important for institutions to also invest in that customer education, so that their customers will know some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to using their apps for the financial transactions. It's really important.
So right from the start, there must be a need for the people who use the apps to be well informed how to use the apps, and to even alert them of some of these issues that may come up with that.
And Perpetual, let me add this to what Eric said. We have an old mentality where people are used to cash, like I said, and people always want to fill the cash. I recall a scenario and a case where someone won a lottery and the amount was deposited into his bank account. He still argued that he has not received the amount. So he wants to fill the money. So he went straight into the banking hall, cashed out the entire amount, counted the amount, then deposited it back.
Just to be sure.
Just to be sure the money has been deposited into his account. So you see, people are so used to these ways of transacting using a physical cash. And frankly speaking, this is costing the nation a lot, because it takes us a lot of money to go for this hard currencies, these fiat currencies. And at the end of the day, look at how we handle them. There's paper notes. For the coins, they're able to even survive our economic hardship to some extent. But the paper note or the fiat currencies, these ones struggle. Within few days or few weeks, they just go bad. So it's an area which I think it's not just the banks, but the government and every other stakeholder needs to take it serious. Because I believe if we are able to do more of e-cash, it's going to help us reduce even the cost in printing this money. Yeah.
So from the discussion so far, we see that there are so many advantages of we using the
Perfect.
e-cash. Because when it comes to printing of money and all, we will take money to even print. But where we are able to just transact electronically, at least we are keeping all that cost of printing in the first place. So with this said, we just have to look at how best we can manage the fraud associated with it, because we have seen that the advantages are there. However, there are disadvantages.
Yes.
And now let me recount why at a point in time some banks started giving that message of don't share your OTP with anyone. There could be a very good case study. It is not to show people how to do the bad thing anyway, but it's just to draw our attention to some of the ways they do this and how best we can prevent it from happening to us. Now with this case study, what happens is that if you are saving with a particular bank, sometimes they do the whole downloading the app and accessing your account so seamless that it's not something that would deter you from doing it. And with this seamless way, which is an advantage, the disadvantage is that some people can just pick your phone number, for instance, go ahead, download that bank app, and then enter it in there with some few details that they have of you. Then they receive the OTP. They don't even receive the OTP. They are using your number. So that's when they will call you and say, oh, you are on a group, this, give us the number that you have just received. And then somebody goes ahead to give them the number. Then the account is literally on someone else's phone. They are transacting on there. So when it comes to this, and given this case study, how best do we, I know we have mentioned we educating the people, but what are some of the ways, like technically, where people can be aware of what to do so that when situations like that come up, they don't find themselves wanting?
Okay. So I think before we even go to that level, talk about the education, there was this report done by the regulator of the banks, that's Bank of Ghana, and that was for last year. And basically, they were looking at suspected or attempted fraud cases and successful fraud cases within the banking sector, the specialized deposit-taking institutions and payment savings, providers. So, and it's shocking to read this. This report is made publicly available for everybody who wants to read that. And there's some key areas in there that are very shocking. But even gave me some awakening, because I realized that there are some type of fraud within the space we're not even taking, we don't even know of, or we're not even taking into consideration. So in the report, they did mention of certain type of fraud, like the forgery and manipulation of documents. This seems to be a common thing, but we don't even know that is a serious fraud area people are leveraging on. The fake bank statements, those, when people want to travel, some of them will connect with some bankers and some people, and then they get this. These are all part of the fraudulent activities within the banking space. There's also the mention of the fraudulent withdrawals, people making withdrawals that are not legit. We have also the check fraud, which we know has been the old game, has been there since Adams. But then we also have the cyber and the email fraud, which are kind of the new trends coming in. And I think there's also the cash suppression or the cash theft also, where for the sake of time I cannot go into details of this, but that is also where people, instead of crediting your account, they don't, and people even use people's money to transact in other businesses overnight.
Overnight, yes, overnight businesses.
And you know, so there are a lot of fraudulent activities within this space. And if you check the statistics, it's really alarming. And I think I will entreat everybody who is interested in this very topic to just Google online and get this document to read. Yes. So now maybe Eric will touch on that before we go into the how people can be cautious of their online activities.
Thank you very much, Gideon. So just to add two of the schemes for our viewers and listeners. So one is a card not present fraud. Okay.
Yeah.
So card not present fraud is a fraud scheme that targets those who use, in Ghana here we will call it a debit card, right? In other jurisdictions is the credit card and then the prepaid cards. So card not present is for your card. When you check your card, there are some numbers.
Yeah.
That is the PAN, primary account number.
Yeah.
There is a expiry date, and then there is also the CVV, at the back.
At the back.
Now, those are the primary information that you need to make an online purchase. So typically, what a criminal does is that they steal this information via phishing attacks. Right? They set up a portal for you to, make some purchase. So as soon as you input your PAN, expiry date, and CVV, they capture this information and they can use it to make purchases on any e-commerce portal. So those listening now, those watching now, you have to keep your cards. I mean your debit cards.
Yes.
Sometimes even physically.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you go to fuel stations, we
So
gave an
yes.
example
So
like
easy.
that.
So you have to protect it as though it were
cash,
money,
yes.
cash for you. And the other one I want to also add is the account takeovers.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot of account takeovers. The other time I was talking about WhatsApp account takeover. There is also the account takeover of online banking accounts. So here, your username and your password that you use to access your online banking platform, the criminal is able to use social engineering schemes to get this information. Then they use it to, wipe your account clean. So please protect yourself.
Yeah.
Please protect yourself. Do not input your, username and passwords anywhere, particularly when they share it via, WhatsApp or the other links. No. Go to your bank's official site and then you access the online banking from that angle.
Yeah.
There is a need for us to protect ourselves. We are looking at managing banking fraud when it comes to digital payments. The focus here is on digital payments. And I like what Eric just mentioned, talking about the use of our cards. So these cards, the debit cards, I mean, for someone who is just wondering, it's ATM card. Yes. Just your ATM card. That very card that you use, like he mentioned, there's usually the main number that is there. If it's a Visa card, for instance, you see that number, the expiry date. When you turn it, you see the CVV number. Once someone gets hold of your CVV, they can literally do any online transaction for you. They will not need any PIN or code or anything to do that. So that is where we have to be careful with.
I just want to touch on this. In fact, before you can use a card to do this online transaction, there are basically some few information they require. So they require the card number, they require the card holder's name, then the expiring date. We have the CVV, which is the I think the card verification value. Yes, and then your billing address. Good. So these are the details they need. But the funny thing is, once you get just the card number and the CVV, you are good to transact, which is the number in front of the card and the one at the back. So I think for the sake of the education, we won't go into details so people will know how to go about this. But basically that is it. So if Eric says you should value your card like cash, it means that the cash you have is your card.
Yeah.
And you ask the question, why are people not too okay to transact online?
Yes.
The question is, if you have about 100,000 Ghana cedis, just a figure, attached to your ATM card, would you want to just use it anywhere, anyhow?
I like what.
So we're going there. You get it.
Some friends of mine, we went to eat together, Winnie and Ruby, and I think Sarah. We were all seated. We finished everything. It was time to make payments. She decided to use the card, and then the message we got was it has been bounced, as in we couldn't do the payment, and we were wondering what exactly happened. And guess what? A mistake of the person entering the details on the POS instead of about 1,000 CDs worth of the transaction that we had done, the person entered 110,000 CDs.
Wow.
So just imagine
Zeros
if
can
my
make
friend
difference.
exactly if my friend had, in fact, what my friend said was, even if it was 10,000, I wouldn't have realized because it would have gone through.
Yes.
And just imagine, I mean, we were all at a point like, what has happened? 100 and something thousand for just dinner.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
if the money was there,
Yes.
she had just got a car. So she said, if it was like a week ago, I'm sure this money would have just
Away.
gone
And
out.
the sad story is they will tell you to take 2 weeks to
Before
get your
you
money
even get
back.
your money. Exactly, when some of these
It
things
is very
happen.
frustrating.
When
Yes.
some of these things happen.
Good. So these are some of the things that deter people from using it. Because if I give you cash and there's an issue, I can just take my cash back. But if I use card to do transaction, and I'm saying this on record,
Yeah.
it has happened to me before.
Yeah.
Now you use your card to buy fuel at the fuel station, and there's an issue. They will tell you go and come back. We are now going to, I understand the processes involved and all that. But if we really want to get there, our banking sector, our PSPs and these DSIs and all the other guys should improve upon the processes so
Exactly.
that it will be a little bit easy for the consumers to patronize the service.
Exactly. So for us and with what happened, one of the things that I believe we can all look at doing is when it comes to POS payments, we should at least check the value to see
Yeah.
if it is what we know
Due
we are paying
diligence.
Yeah,
for.
due diligence.
It comes
Yeah.
back again. The
Yeah.
due diligence is something that we kept mentioning the last time, and it's very important, especially when it comes to online transactions. Now, the mobile apps for the different banks, even with that, you mentioned something where they do account takeover, and I
Yeah.
think the case study I was given is a similar thing because the person only needs your phone number. They create the account in terms of downloading the app. Now
That's all.
it belongs to
They
them.
have it.
And
Now,
then
even the same swap, we talked about it, I think,
Yes.
when
Last
doing
time.
the
Yeah.
mobile money.
Yeah.
With that in place, if you're not careful, even OTP
can
doesn't
get
even
OTP.
work
Yeah.
again. Yeah, which we also come to that when we come to the how
some
to-
of the ways
yeah,
we can
it's
prevent some of
one
the
area.
things from
Yeah.
happening. If you are just joining us, this is the Geek Squad with Adobia Perpetual. Today we are looking at managing banking fraud when it comes to digital payments. I know that Geek Squad, we are getting a lot of listening coverage. I know, Sandra, you are listening to me from Takrade with the girls, and also Mama Dot and Mama Joyce from Kumasi. Thank you so much for making time to listen. We are looking at how best we can secure when it comes to the banking fraud and how we can reduce some of the issues with this. Please, let's get interactive. Send me a message on WhatsApp 055-1111-997. We'll also be opening the phone for you to also call us. You can reach us on 0302 216541 0302 216541. We want to get into more details when it comes to we securing ourselves when we are using these digital platforms, especially concerning our banking systems. Now, with that said, we want to see how best some of these things can be prevented. So we're going into more details. I know we have touched on some of them from the conversations we have had so far, but if we can go into some more details where people can prevent some of these things happening to them. Eric.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just begin then. My brother Gideon will continue. So, first off, since it's online, you are going to access a URL, right? So the URL is the string of numbers or characters that is in the web browser.
web browser,
right?
exactly.
So you have to make sure that it is secured. And what do we mean by having it being secured? You know, when you go to your web browser, you realize that there's something, the HTTPS. So the S means the website is secure. So anytime you are inputting information, be it your personal information or your bank details, you have to make sure that that HTTPS is over there, right? And like I mentioned earlier on, don't just follow links to access your online banking portal or even make any purchase online. Go to the institution that you want to purchase from or you want to transact the business with, right, to do it. Now, also, because we are talking about digital payments and fraud, ensure that the merchants you buy from, right, I don't want to mention any brand here,
Yeah.
so yes, but the merchants you buy from are trusted merchants. Don't just follow anybody and say, hey, this site, they are very good, their products are very cheap. When you go there, you don't have a guarantee that yes, your card information will be saved. Will be saved. So it's very important that you do. Now, you also have to set a two-factor authentication. Sometimes we call it multi-factor authentication on your mobile banking app, right? So that when you input your username and password, you get an OTP. Sometimes you use an app to authenticate it, depending on what your financial institution has provided. Always ensure. So if you are listening now or you are watching now, ensure you set up your multi-factor authentication on any portal that you have registered with, in terms of either financial related portal or even some of your accounts that you use to purchase stuff online. Set it up. It is extremely important. Now I will end here for the customers. Right now, generally, let me just before Gideon comes in, pardon me, the regulatory angle is also extremely important. Right, so that there is someone in charge watching over what the financial institutions are doing, so that when they put a product out there that is not fit for purpose, they are called and they are made to make it fit for purpose. It is extremely important. Regulatory compliance. Now, also the element of the law enforcement and the financial intelligence units is also extremely important, so that when there is a fraud case, they come in swiftly to come and investigate and apprehend the perpetrators of this, fraudulent schemes. Let me add the last bit before Gideon comes in. Even the private sector has a role to play. The program you're having now is educating. So you do that to educate people. Even we at E-Crime Bureau, in October, which is going to be the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, we are actually rolling out a program online on our learning portal, a cybersecurity awareness program, where we anticipate, onboarding over 100,000 Ghanaian citizens, so that they can get the skill to be able to protect some of this digital related fraud schemes that we are discussing here. So it's extremely important we all have roles to play in order to safeguard the financial ecosystem.
Everyone has a role to play, and sometimes we have to do the due diligence. One of the things we have to put in place is to have the multi-factor authentication. So there are different applications that can even be used for this. We have the Google Authenticator, for instance. Microsoft Authenticator is there. So the application that you are using, all you have to do is to set this up so that there will be a second form of verification if someone is to get hold of your account. And it's one of the things that I even say with WhatsApp accounts. If you have that set up,
all the social media
there is no
accounts.
way someone will just be able to access your account. Even if they get hold of your password, they will need to cross that step, which you are the only one who would have access to in order to do it. Another thing you also mentioned was rechecking the browser. So to know that it's secure, the HTTPS, when you have S at the end, you know that it's secure. Sometimes you can even check with just the padlock sign in the browser for you to know that this particular site you are accessing is secure or not. When you are entering information, you are able to do that. Gideon, yes, what would you like to add?
So I'll take it from the customer point of view. And these are basic house cleaning exercise everybody can do. So I would like my listeners to take note of this, and they can do it from tomorrow. It's already late. There are some of them you need to contact your banks to do that. So first and foremost, I always advise people to opt for debit card or credit cards that are not directly linked to their main bank account.
Good.
That is very important. If you are the online type and you want to be shopping online, the ATM card that you are normally being given by your bank, we know by default is linked to your bank account, which is risky to some extent, because if you use this ATM card to transact online and it's being compromised, you know the consequences.
Exactly.
So opt for options. So I know some of the banks do have that. They can give you some cards that are not directly like your prepaid cards of the good. And the second option is to go for virtual cards where possible. So if your bank support virtual card system, go for that. So with a virtual card, how it works is the same. It has the same functionality just like the physical card. You only create it for a duration, for either 6 months, for a year, depending on your bank. Then you transfer the funds onto it. You transact with it. So anytime you want to transact, you just transfer. So you transfer only a portion or the amount you want on it. So if you have been compromised at a point in time, it's only the amount you have there that you lose.
Okay, just
Also,
before you continue with that, I just have a message that I would like to just read out from Mr. Inkum Kovina. He's saying, good evening to you all. In fact, I've been educated about this fraudulent purchasing sites. I nearly fell for such, as being explained by your guest. So like you're saying, there's a need for us to check, because that tendency is there for someone to also fall for it. The phone lines are open, just in case you like to call. We would like to hear from you. If you've ever fallen for any of these or you have any question, feel free to reach us on the number 0302 0302 216 541 0302 216 541. You can reach us on that number. Or you can also send us a WhatsApp message on 055 997.
Okay. So to continue from where I left off, also in the situation where your bank doesn't offer these virtual cards, what I would advise you do, if you still want to use this ATM cards or your debit card, then limit your transaction per day or per month. That is also a good practice.
Yeah.
So even if the bank is not willing to limit it for you, you limit it to a reasonable amount. A reasonable depends on your expenditure. So you put it in a reasonable limit so that in case you are being compromised, you don't lose much. Also, sign up for SMS and emails. Please, it doesn't cost a lot. You need to monitor or have real-time alerts on your accounts. Anytime there's a transaction, debit or credit alert, you need to know it. So when somebody transact on your behalf that you are not aware of, you should know. It surprises me to know when you transfer money to people and they'll still call you to ask you, have you deposited the money? Meanwhile, it means that they've not subscribed to this SMS. I think no bank charges more than 30 cedis for the whole year. For SMS and this. And to the banks too, I think this can be value-added services. You can make some of this thing free of charge to make the services easy and more convenient for the customers. So that is another thing we need to watch out for. Always make sure that you have these transactions, these alerts activated on all your accounts. I also advise people to use trusted Wi-Fi or internet services. So I'll use the Wi-Fi. So what do we mean by untrusted service? So for instance, the public Wi-Fi we have, you go to the airport, you go to the cafeteria, you go to the restaurant, you find yourself at a public area and there's a free Wi-Fi being given. My advice is that whenever you are using this public Wi-Fi, do not use your mobile apps, your banking apps, and don't do online banking through this untrusted public Wi-Fi, because there is an attack system called the man-in-the-middle attack, where somebody can intercept your transaction and then do the bad thing from there. So these are basic things that anybody with the skills on the network can perform that. So imagine somebody who has been trained or who has dedicated his time to hack you or to attack you. It will just take minutes for the person to do that. So always make sure that when you're using this public Wi-Fi, I can't say don't use them. Maybe you may want to send WhatsApp message and all that, or make some calls via WhatsApp. So at least if you're using them, make sure you don't transact or don't use your banking apps over there.
All right. It seems we have a phone caller, so we'll go ahead and pick that. Al Hassan. Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, lady.
Hi.
Thanks for
okay, where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from Tema.
Okay.
Yeah, please, I just want your explanation on this scenario. I'm a card holder. I barely do online transactions. I don't travel much to use it elsewhere or even internationally. And yet, someone is able to use my card from a far-off jurisdiction to make online purchases. I report to my bankers. They do investigations upon investigations. Eventually, they are able to return my money. How does this happen? Was it because all the risk factors, I was not exposed to them? Will it be an internal collaboration within the bank, or how come these scammers are able to penetrate and be able to get my access to my data? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Al Hassan. Seems both
Okay.
of you are ready to answer the question.
Okay, so Eric said I should take it first. All right, Alasan. Okay, so sorry for the inconvenience caused. As always, that's what I think when you call your bank, they will tell you, and then they will refund the money to you. But I'll take it from two different angles. This could be a close ally, somebody closer to you, who got this information and sold it or transacted online. And you see, as humans as we are, we may forget that maybe some time back, then you didn't have anything in this account, so you didn't really value the ATM card. It was lying anywhere, anyhow. And somebody chanced on this and then transacted somewhere unsafe. And then these details were picked by the bad actors. And thereafter, they sold it to people.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll continue with our
All right.
Hassan's question. We have another caller on the line. Kakra. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, madam. Thank you very much for this educative piece.
Yes, please. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Legon.
Okay, Kakra. Kindly go ahead with you.
Yes, I begin to pick a cue from what Al Hassan, the first caller, just shared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Crime Bureau, thank you for your education and everything you do. I don't know about the banks. You see, sometimes people talk about hack. The lesson I know about is most often there are certain remnants the internal people give out. Okay, let us not lose focus of it, irrespective of the education you give out. Most often, about 90% of these guys are negligence of internal banking staff. The staff at the banks. Look at the first guy who called. I've not transacted anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe he might have left some remnants of a transaction somewhere. The ATM card. If you want to go and use the ATM card and you drop your receipt down, it is a part of information that somebody would have used to at least lead to a little something that he wouldn't have had if you had not left it there. But what I'm put across is, I believe the e-crime guy would
Yes.
understand with me that the internal banking staff, they are the threat. They are the biggest the people we deal with, and I believe he will understand what I mean.
Yeah. Thank you
They'll
so
come
much.
and blow their mind. Oh, hack. No, it's a small social intelligence. Something they did. Somebody did on the banking staff, a national service person who is working at the bank, an intern. So I believe that one of the greatest things that he is doing, that he should let the bank start doing is the training that we give to interns. You know, the interns come, we don't give them any training. The attachment guys come, the NSS people come from the university. They don't have anything. All they know is TikTok and WhatsApp.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kakra. I think we'll touch on more details on that too. Thank you so much. There's another caller we'll have to pick. Kweku, hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Kweku. Where are you calling
Yes,
from, please?
I'm calling from Accra.
Okay.
So first of all, I want to say much big ups to Eric. I think I've encountered him a couple of times before, but so E-Crime Bureau had a program at GXZ a couple of months ago, and I was to be a member of that section, and it was quite educative on the mobile money fraud and then the cybersecurity issue. So I just want to ask a question. My question is concerning the banking app. How secured are they? Because mostly this banking app requires you to do a lot of updates, and I know when these updates are not done consistently, you are susceptible to attack. So I want him to educate us a little bit more on the banking app. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We would answer that. Hello. Good evening, Bashir. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good evening, madam.
Hi. Good evening. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Medina.
All right.
Hello.
Please. Kindly go
Yes.
ahead.
In fact, this evening I'm highly educated. Currently, I'm having a particular issue that I have with my bank. One day, like 3 weeks ago, I wake up in the morning just to see some deduction from my accounts. The kind of deduction they did, the money in my account, they just took everything. And so I went to the bank. I called my bank and told them. So when I went, they said, "Oh, I transferred money from my mobile app, the app to somebody." And I said, "No, I have never used the app. There's no day I have used the app before. It was even the day I came to the bank to open a savings account. That was the day I opened, I activated the app. Since then, I have never used the app. And when I opened the app, when I just opened, and the people are telling me I have used the app to transfer money. And I said, no, I've never used the app to transfer money. You see, so they are telling me I transferred the money to one person, and it's an internal thing. I was expecting them to tell me, oh, let's meet this person. Is this person that you transferred the money to? They went and did their own things. And then they retrieved the money into my account. When I was talking to them that, oh, this money has entered my account. The money actually was 7,000. Before I realized, they sent me 6,000 after some days. So when I called the manager to tell her that, oh, they sent me some 6,000. Is he
Okay.
This is? Then he said, oh, they are retrieving the money. So that's the amount they have retrieved, but they are still on it.
Okay, but at least that's being addressed. Thank you so much for that input. We'd like to address the questions that have come through from our callers. All right.
Okay, so let me just talk about the insider threats comment. Yes, of course, insider threats is everywhere, right? So one thing we have seen per our analysis of the trends over the past years is that insider threats, when they mention insider threats, oftentimes we think that it's just the malicious insider. That means that the bad guy in there. But there are three levels. There is a malicious insider, there is the non-compliant and negligent insider, which we often forget about, and they form a majority of the insider threats vulnerabilities. Right, then we have the exploited insider. So I think this being said, it's very important that financial institutions train their staff. He mentioned national service personnel, those doing attachment and internship. It's important that they are trained on at least basic cybersecurity and data protection. Right. So I think you touched that up, or let me just touch on it briefly.
How secured are the banking apps? That was one question.
So basically, right now I can't sit here and say every bank's app is not secured or not or secured, right? But there are key things to be done. There must be vulnerability assessment and penetration testing on all apps before they are rolled out there. We don't just come into haste and then get a developer, develop a very nice interface, and you throw out there. You need to do assessment on the app and regularly update the apps because applications get outdated over time. So do update them. Let me just leave it for Gideon to also conclude. On it.
So
the last person, at least I just want us to address the.
Yeah, I think for Bashiru, right?
Yes.
Okweku.
Bashiru.
I think, he's fortunate that his case has been taken on and.
He didn't have a bank app at all.
Yes.
So that's like those.
The ATM card issue. Yeah. So you see, I think when you did the mobile money education, we touched on that. That sometimes the people in your household are your main threat. You get it? Because, for instance, people use their date of birth or year of birth as their PIN. 1942, 1952. The 4 digits, they use it as their ATM PIN. So the moment you do this and a stubborn kid in the house sees this, he will definitely exploit on that. So
I mean,
those are some of the. I'm not saying that's what Bashiru or Kweku did, but at least these are some of the common mistakes we do.
Yeah. From the way this conversation is going, I think I'll just have a quick chat with my producer. Probably we'll have to do a part 2 of it because we need to have more education on this. There's so many questions and we won't be able to solve them all. But before we get to the end of everything, we will want to give you some things about quick tech fixes. But before that, we'll take a quick break. When we are back, we'll give you some tips on that.
My man, I heard there's a new app on the streets that does it all for you.
Ah, really? How is that possible?
Charlie, I also could not believe it too. But I downloaded the app and I'm telling you, I was able to chat with my friends, make video calls, and...
Well, we know of many apps that can do that.
Oh, let me finish, la. I was also able to listen to the latest songs, play games, and read the latest sports news.
For real?
Yeah, and I can send and receive money from the app. Amazing, no?
What's the name of this app?
It's called Ayoba.
Ayoba?
Yeah, Ayoba.
Get Ayoba, your all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, share, play, pay, and listen to music all in one app for everyone. Enjoy Ayoba with MTN and download the Ayoba app today. Everywhere you go.
The biggest event on the HR calendar is finally here. The HR Focus Conference and Awards 2023. Under the theme, the HR Mandate, Building Resilient People and Businesses, all HR practitioners and business leaders are invited to come participate and enjoy insightful keynote addresses and panel discussions during the Vodafone HR Forum, company exhibitions, and special awards for deserving HR practitioners. The speakers include Amazing Grace Inim Yeboah, Business Banking Director, Absa Bank, and Dr. Edward Kwapon, President of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, and many others. Venue, Accra International Conference Center. Date, Thursday, 28 September. Time, 8:30 a.m. prompt. Visit hrfocusevents.com to register and book your seats, or call 020-401-6007 or 055-946-6536. This event is proudly sponsored by Vodafone Ghana, ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, Volta Hotel, Seamless HR, Newmont Ghana, Absa Bank, Enterprise Group, DVLA, Acacia Health, Absa Bank, Holland Group, and Perpetual Ghana. Media partners, Joy FM, Asasi Radio, City FM, and Graphic Communications. See you there.
Welcome back. We'll be taking the quick fix right now.
Hello there, my name is Michelle Ajakum and I bring you some tech quick fixes and tips here on Geek Squad. Did you know that in WhatsApp's latest feature, you can now edit a message you already shared? Here's what to do. Press hold the message you have sent, choose Edit from the pop-up and edit your message. Voila! You got that right. But here's the catch. You can only edit a message within 15 minutes.
Welcome back. This is the Geek Squad with your girl Adobia Biritwum. Today we have had a very interesting conversation. Unfortunately, some of the questions we couldn't answer, and so we are going to have a part 2 of this, managing the banking fraud, especially when it comes to digital payments. We saw a question from Swadika about contactless card. Please just stay tuned next week. Our guests are returning next week. Thank you so much for making time to join me, Eric and Gideon. And thank you for listening to me. I know, sister, you are listening, some, most of you. And thank you very much once again to my producer, Prince, Edem, and Abeku. God willing, next week we'll be meeting same time, 7 p.m. on the Geek Squad show. Thank you once again.
Waves.